what I've experienced is that the reaction to a painting of a person has a very different impact than the reference photo of that same person. Especially when you're honoring someone in some way. Sometimes it's a family member, sometimes it's a celebrity. At the case of Mindcamp, it's a couple of our good friends that have been struggling with their health, and I don't mean to do it, I just somehow within the process of working the canvas and going through my process, trusting the process, something magical about the human being but comes out, but it's also something authentic. And people often have sort of a wow moment when they see the myriad colors that I use, and how is it that those colors reveal the human being when there's absolutely none of those, or almost none of those colors in the actual face? And I can't explain it. It's just something that I've developed over the last number of years from working initially with watercolors and releasing myself to have fun with it and be less precise. And that intention and that practice has continued to evolve. Every single painting changes, every single use of color and the amount of blending, the color choices changes every single time. And so something that I'm doing today will be completely and utterly different from what I did a year ago. But the common denominator, I believe, is that in every single face there is a key, an element, a feature that all of a sudden you see the person pop out before you. Sometimes it's the wave of the hair, sometimes it's a crease line, other times it's the eyes. But it changes every single time. And sometimes it surprises me, to be completely honest. And I go, oh, well, there he is. But I guess the other thing that I do is I'm working from a reference photo. And I really respect the photo in front of me, and I don't try to interpret the lines or put something that's not there. I'm just trying to honor the human being that's in front of me, but it's in a different way because I'm referencing a black and white image, so that my brain gets to decide what are the colors that are going to create the human being. And in that process, somehow magically, people see a friend, a relative, a celebrity, in a way that is completely different than a photograph.
Do you think there's more humanity in the painting than there is in the photograph then, or?
Yeah, I don't know if it's humanity. There's something incredibly singular about a painting. The original painting can't be replicated. It is the one and only one of its kind. And of course people make prints and that kind of thing, but the original is so incredibly special. And I think after decades upon decades of photography really running supreme in terms of the graphical communication, there is something really special about a painting. And so my experience has been that as this thing has taken off with wild color portraiture, that it has captured people that may, in a lot of cases, would never be considered art fans, but it's somehow galvanized their interest. And I think the reason is it connects to their soul.
Oh, okay.
In a way that is incredibly different than a photograph. And it's not taking anything away from photographs, because without a reference photo, I'd have nothing to go by. I don't make these things up in my head. I'm really just interpreting a photo. But the most amazing thing is sometimes when I do my portraits, I'm working from a photograph that is 15 kilobytes large, and it's still with very little information. And this method, this practice still allows me to pull out the human being from very little information. that's been surprising and delightful for me. It doesn't, sometimes it's really difficult, but it's been so much fun.
So it's somehow touching people's souls.
You know, it absolutely is, and especially during a time of loss. Now, it's not every time that the painting somehow begins to make things better, but in 99 times out of 100, the painting has helped the grieving process in a way that is almost inexplicable. You know, a mother whose 2 sons were shot and killed in the community of La Loche. How do you begin to recover from losing your two children through violence? Different family members that have passed away, and all of a sudden you see this painting, and there's a young musician in Fort McMurray who passed away way too young. He was like 30 or something, but he was a revered guy, and the painting somehow gave them a vessel by which to grieve and move forward and honor the individual as well. Again, very different than a photograph.
What's it do for you inside you? So it's interesting to hear that how it helps people, you know, in times of grieving, especially when there's strong emotions. But what does it do for you when you see the soul of that person, the essence of them, start to appear on the canvas? Whether it's, you know, somebody that's passed away, or even somebody that's still here. What happens to you?
Let's use the painting of Joe as an example. It's not that I was struggling with it, but I knew it wasn't finished, and I needed to go to sleep on it. And when I'm struggling or I need an answer to a painting challenge, I ask myself that question. I go to sleep, and usually the answer reveals itself to me in my dreams, and that was definitely the case with Joe. And there's a mark on the canvas where there's some white strokes are in the background, seemingly coming out of his mouth. And there was something very mystical about that for me, and that I needed to leave him there. And after we found out that he had passed, I think I understood why they needed to be there. That it was like I said, Joe was among us, dancing on a breeze last night, and it was like those little touches on the canvas expressed that which I didn't know at the time, but somehow felt. So it affects me a lot. The other thing that for me is certainly a driver is the moment when the client or the customer comes to pick up a piece of any kind. You know, there's a gentleman in Fort McMurray who has the same cancer that Gord Downey from the Tragically Hip has, and his wife asked me to do a very special portrait for his birthday, which was him reading a book to his 2 grandchildren. And it was a moment shortly after he had his initial brain surgery, and it was a very special and a beautiful moment in their life. So he came to pick it up with his family. And this is a guy who is incredibly successful in life and works at an oil sands company, very well-respected fellow. And his reaction, which included tears, and he grabbed me and held on to me for a number of minutes. You just can't, it's hard to explain or put a price on something like that. And that happens so often, this honest reaction to something that I just love to do, that I've somehow stumbled upon and spend a lot of time doing. And then I get these incredible gifts over and over again. And I can't tell you how grateful I am.